जय गुरुजी। गुरुजी का बहुत 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 शुक्राना। आई थिंक दिस इज़ द फर्स्ट टाइम आई एम शेयरिंग अ सत्संग in front of the Sangat, in front of a lot of Sangat. Um, so today Rupali aunty asked me कि जो कल मेरे को बताया था सत्संग पर्सनल में वो तू आज सबको बताना. So I was sharing with Rupali aunty yesterday that how I connected to Guruji, how my journey with Guruji started. It has not been a very long time that I started, that I connected to Guruji. It was so in the year of 2020, I had a very close teacher. She passed away. So I was with her since childhood. She passed away, and she was also a Guru Sangat. She was well connected to Guruji, and but at that point in time I was not so connected to Guruji. I didn't even know who Guruji was. There used to be a small swaroop in on ma'am's desk, and whenever I used to go, I used to think that that swaroop, that he's ma'am's brother who had passed away in Kargil war. And I didn't know that it was Guruji's swaroop. So I never really honestly, like, I never bothered asking what swaroop, I never really bothered to know what it was and all of that. Then fast forward, then ma'am, so in 2020 ma'am had passed away, and approximately until 1 year after her passing, I could feel her energies around me. In whatever I used to do, I used to just close my eyes and be like, ma'am, meko ye samajh nahi aa raha, and it automatically, things used to work out, or she used to give me a sign in one way or the other, and I was so I could feel her energies around me at all times. Later on, the end of last year, the end of 2022, it was about to be 1 year of her passing. So I had gone to Mumbai to meet one of my teacher's friend. So I had gone for my own personal thing, but there I met one of my teacher's friends, and she was into tarot cards, and my ma'am also used to do tarot. So after my teacher's death, I went crazy. I used to go to each and every tarot card reader, because for me, it was the only, according to me at that point in time, it was the only way to connect to my teacher. So this time when I went to Mumbai, I met one of my teacher's friends, and the moment I entered her place, she had a pet cat. She has a pet cat. She has a pet dog. So the dog started barking. The cat started meowing. The wind started blowing so badly, and we had goosebumps. Everybody in that house had goosebumps. We could feel the vibrations, and ma'am's friend looked at me and she said, your teacher is here, and she wants to convey something to you. And I was a little, I was shocked, and I didn't know how to react to it. So I went to, so we sat down. She pulled out cards, and the cards said something about forgiveness. And coincidentally, I mean, not coincidentally, but the cards were, my last message of my teacher to me was about forgiveness only. So she had planned, so she was a psychologist, she was a therapist, she was a special educator. So she had planned to do a workshop on forgiveness on the 27th of December, and unfortunately on the 24th of December she breathed her last. So we were trying to figure out what do those cards mean, because again and again the forgiveness card was coming out, and we didn't know. So eventually 1 hour, like a couple of minutes later, we figured out that she really wanted to do that forgiveness workshop, but since Guruji had some other plans for her. She could not do that workshop, and now she wants to do that workshop, and she wants me to conduct that workshop. And I just looked into my teacher's friend's eyes, and I said, I can't do it. I am not qualified for it. I am not. I can't do it. I don't know anything about it. I just know the basics that my teacher had taught me. That also they were for me, and it's not always that I practice it, but I try practicing it, and it's not something that I can pass on. So that lady said, whatever you want to do, you do, but something related to that workshop that you will have to do. So I said, okay. I have one guided meditations of my teacher where forgiveness meditations in my teacher's voice. So what I will do is I will forward the message that we are doing one last Bharti ma'am's guided meditation, and I and let us all get together. It was nearing her death anniversary, so let us all get together, celebrate her life, remember her. And so I did that, and it happened with Guruji's blessing. It happened very beautifully. A lot, like about 25 people showed up for that workshop, and I think that was the last day when I felt the presence of my teacher. After that, I could not feel her. I could sense that she is not around me anymore in any form of energy. Of course, she will be in my heart. So then after that, it had hardly been 6 days to this thing. Everywhere I used to go, I started saying Guruji, Guruji, Guruji. My neighbors started connecting with Guruji. My neighbors started doing satsangs out of nowhere. I went to Delhi. Every car in front of me had Guruji. Wherever I was going, it was Guruji, Guruji, Guruji. So just out of curiosity, I googled Guruji, and I started reading about him. I started reading about all the satsangs, and at that point in time also I did not feel any connection. So somehow sometime around the New Year's Eve, my whole family was in Delhi, but my grandfather was back home, and my grandfather was a little sick, and we were all with our cousins and celebrating the New Year's. So my grandfather fell a little sick, and he was all alone back home in Chandigarh. So so my connection with my grandfather is, if he's not doing well, I will drop everything and anything in this world just to go and make sure that he is doing better. So मेरी तो जान सूख गई जब मेरे को पता लगा that he is not doing well. He had a little fever. His throat was very sour, and आवाज़ पूरी उनकी बैठ गई थी. तो I didn't know what to do. So I called my teacher's assistant, and I told my teacher's assistant, to send some healings for my grandfather and pray for my grandfather. And out of nowhere, that day, my teacher's assistant told me, you know what, you just pray. So ma'am had this Guruji, you just pray to Guruji that he gets better. I said, yeah, I have been hearing a lot about Guruji lately and seeing a lot about Guruji around me. So I don't know how well I am connected, and I don't think I am connected at all. So why don't you do one thing, you pray on my behalf. At that point in time I was so stupid, I didn't know कि यहाँ पे direct connection ही चलता है. So I was still, I was like, yeah, I will pray to Guruji, but you still send your healings. You still, at that point in time, there were other healing methods. So I said, you still do it. I don't know, just do it. I will pray and all of that. So I don't know, that day, out of curiosity, I dialed another of my teacher's friend who used to do satsang every day. And how I got to know she used to do satsang every day was because I used to take langar prasad for my teacher without knowing that I was taking langar prasad for my teacher for about 6-7 months, from my place to her place whenever I used to go meet her. So it just striked in my mind. Actually, it didn't strike in my mind. Guruji put it in my mind that to call to call that auntie who used to do satsangs every day. So I just called her. I said, Auntie, I've been seeing Guruji everywhere, and I don't know what it is and how it is and what to do and what not to do. So I just wanted to I'm just curious to know what happens there. So she said, so she sent me a playlist, satsangs playlist, and she sent me the link to the mantra jap. And she said, just, YouTube Guruji satsangs and go forward. So all of these conversations were happening on that New Year's Eve only. And I said, okay, but honestly I called that, so I know that you're very well connected, and I called because my grandfather is not feeling well. Will you just pray on behalf of me that my grandfather is absolutely fine? So she said, yeah, don't worry, I will pray to Guruji, but you also in the meantime listen to this satsang playlist and mantra jap. I was very stupid. I avoided it because at that point in time I was not very well connected. And I'm so sorry Guruji कि मैं वो नहीं सत्संग की playlist सुन पाई. And so that happened. We slept off. It was New Year the next day. So the first thing I did in the morning when I woke up, because we were all in Delhi, grandfather was back home. So first thing I did was I woke up and I called my grandfather. And when I called him, I was shocked to hear that his voice was absolutely fine, back to his normal tone. He had no fever. It was like he was never sick. And I was shocked. I was taken aback. And again, stupid mind, it needed logic at that point in time. I was just I thought that maybe it's a coincidence, maybe, he took well care of himself. Stupid of me to not know that it was Guruji who made it all better. Then I came back home. I think the next day itself we came back home, and I was just talking to my neighbor, and my neighbor, out of nowhere, she said that I said that, Dadaji was not feeling well, this and that. So my neighbor said, चल सृष्टि, मैं तेरे को ना लेके चलती हूँ, हम गुरुजी के मंदिर होकर आते हैं, गुरुजी को फ्लावर्स बहुत पसंद हैं, उनके लिए हम बुके लेके चलते हैं. तो मैंने उसको देखा. सो मैंने उस टाइम पे मैंने कहा, जोश जोश में मैंने बोल दिया हाँ हाँ चलते हैं. उसके बाद आई हैड सम ऑफिस कॉल, सो आई ऑलमोस्ट कैंसिल दैट डे. बट जब गुरुजी का बुलावा होता है तो गुरुजी का बुलावा होता है. मैंने उसको बोला एंड वो मेरी बात नहीं मानी. शी इज़ लाइक, मुझे नहीं पता, अपना नहा धो और फटाफट चलो मेरे साथ. सो हम गुरुजी के मंदिर गए. वहाँ पे मैं बैठी आधा घंटा. आई थिंक आई सैट देयर एंड आई क्राइड. And I had no idea why tears started rolling down my eyes. I was crying, mindlessly crying. But anyhow, that day also went by. She gave me Jal Prasad for my grandfather. My grandfather's health is blessed by Guruji. He's doing absolutely fine. Then I came back home. But, there was something that was... drawing me closer to Guruji. And in that moment, there was a very inner thought that came in my, like, अंदर से आवाज़ आई कि माई टीचर इज़ सेइंग कि मेरा काम जो यहाँ पे था वो हो गया है, अब तेरा ख्याल मैं नहीं गुरुजी रखेंगे. एंड ये आवाज़ आई अंदर से. एंड उसके बाद देयर वाज नो कम्युनिकेशन. कुछ मैम से रिलेटेड कुछ नहीं. ऑल गॉन. इट्स इवन द मेमोरीज वर द memories were erased in that moment. And when after going to the mandir, I ऐसी लत लग गई कि समझ नहीं आता था क्यों, बट मैं हर रोज़ साइकिलिंग करने जाती थी शाम को. तो साइकिलिंग करते करते आई यूज़ टू गो टू द मंदिर. नोबडी इन माई फैमिली न्यू दैट आई वॉज गोइंग टू द मंदिर. आई यूज़ टू गो 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours. I used to sit in front of Guruji's gaddi, and I used to just look at him. And for me, it was not the feeling of going to Guruji. For me, in that moment, the only thing I think that was driving me was when I used to step inside, for me it was that I've come home to to my teacher. I used to get this feeling that मैं अपनी मैम से मिल गई. So I think couple of days I kept on coming, going to the mandir. Then my friend took me to the very first satsang, and there I just sat and I closed my eyes. And the moment I closed my eyes, I see that I am in Bada Mandir near Guruji's Jhula, and my teacher is walking towards me. And it was just a flash of a thought. Flash of a thing, and it went away. And in that moment I knew that my teacher is at the right she is at the right place, and she is the one who's connected me to Guruji. अभी भी connection उतना strong नहीं बना था, but eventually Guruji is almighty. Guruji is the ultimate divine power. He knew what I wanted. He knew what could get me to fall in to absolutely blindly connect with him. Event so last so the last year after after my teacher's death, my time, like, I had a very rough patch coping up with the grief of my teacher and everything. So sometime in the month of September last year, I had this very very close friend, and due to XYZ reasons, we decided to not talk for a while. And mutually and very respectfully, we decided that we'll now give us each other some space, because it's getting because we've ended up hurting each other, and we should take some time off. So 6 months had gone by. It was March, and I'm still I'm still in the middle of my connection with Guruji, trying to build it. But itni बोल दिया, लंगर बोल दिया, that I used to give ma'am langar without no, ma'am only. So at that point in time, so I was just I was very irritated. I was hitting a very low in my life, and I just went in front of Guruji's Swaroop and I cried. I said, Guruji, was my friendship with this person so weak that he never really bothered to ask me how am I doing in the past 6 months? Because if it was so, then I am very disappointed in myself. And I said, Guruji, one message. And I knew I was asking for something very impossible, because I did know the person inside out. He was my best friend all through these years. And I said, Guruji, not even one message. And I said, and I sobbed myself to sleep. And the next day, I was out somewhere with with a few of my friends, and I didn't check my phone. So sometime around 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, when I checked my phone, when I opened my phone, I see there is a message from that friend of mine, whom I was talking to Guruji about. And the message not only, in the message, he not only asked me how I was doing, but he also apologized. He also asked me for my forgiveness. In that moment is when I realized that Guruji, and that's exactly when when I actually started connecting, when I started believing with all the trust and faith that I had in Guruji. So at that point in time, I was absolutely taken aback, and I had nothing but tears in my eyes. And those tears were not of any sadness. It was only of the shukrana that I had for Guruji, because only Guruji knew how much that message meant to me, and how much inner satisfaction that message gave to me. Later when this is after that, my trust, my faith, my belief, my connection with Guruji has only been going on and on and on. And Guruji is so beautiful, so amazing, that he just never gives me he always gives me something or the other to be grateful about, to express my shukrana for. And इट्स लाइक मैं अपने मन में बात सोचती हूँ और वो मेरे सामने हो जाती है. Moving forward, I went to one of the satsangs, and some uncle one of the uncles was sharing a satsang where uncle said that मैं तो गुरुजी से सिर्फ उनका नाम मांगता हूँ, मुझे पता है कि अगर गुरुजी हैं तो सब है. सो उस टाइम कनेक्शन इतना बिल्ड नहीं हुआ था, कि पता नहीं था कि मांगते नहीं है, सिर्फ मानते हैं. एंड सो मैं थोड़ी स्टूपिड थी. मैं गुरुजी से जाके, जैसे मैंने मैसेज मांगा, मैंने और भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें मांगी थी. एंड मैं बोलती रहती थी, गुरुजी ये दे दो प्लीज़, सिर्फ यही चाहिए, सिर्फ यही चाहिए, और कुछ नहीं मांगती हूँ. सो जब उन अंकल ने सत्संग शेयर किया तो मैंने गुरुजी के स्वरूप की तरफ देखा. मैंने कहा, गुरुजी ये लोग कैसे बोलते हैं? तो हम सब इंसान ही, हम सब वी ऑलवेज हैव सम विश और एनीथिंग. एंड इफ़ यू आर टॉकिंग टू, इवन इफ़ यू आर टॉकिंग टू अ फ्रेंड, हम फ्रेंड को भी ये बात बोल देते हैं कि मेरे को ये चाहिए, मुझे वो चाहिए. तो अगर हम गुरुजी को अपना बेस्ट फ्रेंड, अपना फादर, अपने मदर, अपना अल्टीमेट पावर मान रहे हैं, तो हम गुरुजी से बात करेंगे कि गुरुजी ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए. तो मैंने कहा, गुरुजी मुझे नहीं समझ आती ये बात कि ये क्या है कि आप हो, मतलब इट्स वी वांट, इट इज़ अ कम्युनिकेशन दैट आई वांट टू शेयर विद यू कि मुझे ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए. तो उस टाइम ये सब चीज़ें, it was a mere thought, it went by. Then a couple of days later I went to Bade Mandir, and Bade Mandir, and those days were like when I used, जब मेरे को ऐसा लगता था कि गुरुजी मेरे आसपास नहीं है, मेरी कोई बात नहीं सुन रहे हैं, मेरी कोई बात मान नहीं रहे हैं. आई वॉज अ लिटिल फूल टू नॉट नो कि, मतलब मुझे इतनी बेवकूफ़ थी मैं उस टाइम पे, इतनी बुद्धि गुरुजी ने नहीं दी थी कि मुझे पता हो कि गुरुजी तो सब सुन रहे हैं, गुरुजी सब देख रहे हैं, गुरुजी को सब पता है. तो मुझे ऐसे लग रहा था कि गुरुजी मेरे आसपास नहीं है. और उस दिन जब मैं बड़े मंदिर गई, सो मैं उससे पहले 3-4 बार जब भी बड़े मंदिर जाती थी तो हमेशा मेरे पास कुछ ना कुछ मांगने को होता था. बट दैट डे, आई थिंक उस सत्संग के नेक्स्ट वीकेंड जब मैं बड़े मंदिर गई, तो मैंने गुरुजी का स्वरूप देखा और मैंने गुरुजी को कहा कि गुरुजी मुझे ना पिछले 1 हफ्ते से ऐसे लग रहा है जैसे आप मेरे आसपास नहीं हो, आप मेरी बात नहीं सुन रहे हो, आप मेरे साथ नहीं हो. मुझे अब समझ आई ये बात कि लोग क्यों कहते हैं, कि संगत क्यों कहती है कि आप हो तो हमारे पास सब कुछ है. इन दैट मोमेंट इज़ व्हेन आई रियलाइज्ड एंड आई आस्क्ड गुरुजी कि गुरुजी, I don't want anything in my life. I don't want any materialistic. I don't want anything in my life. I just want you to be there with me at all times, because I have come to realize that if you are there with me, I have everything. Everything is gonna fall in place. Everything is gonna. I can climb mountains if you are there for me. I can fight anything and everything only and only if you are there with me. If you are not there, I don't think I have the capabilities and the strength to do so. So in that moment is when Guruji made me realize what it means ki mango mat. So thank you Guruji, इतना प्यार देने के लिए, इतनी ब्यूटीफुल लाइफ देने के लिए, मेरी लाइफ में हर चीज़ परफेक्टली फॉल करवाने के लिए. आपका बहुत 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 शुक्राना गुरुजी, अनंतम अनंतम शुक्राना. इतनी चीज़ों का शुक्राना है कि मेरा शुक्राना भी गुरुजी के दरबार में मेरा इतना छोटा पड़ जाता है. थैंक यू गुरुजी, थैंक यू सो मच.
शुक्राना गुरुजी. जय गुरुजी। संगत जी, मैंने ये पहले भी गाया हुआ है गुरुजी के दरबार में, तो ये गुरुजी का वन ऑफ हिज फेवरेट सॉन्ग्स जो मुझे रिसेंटली पता चला। इनाखियाँ च पावा किवें कजलावे, अखियाँ च तू वसदा। इनाखियाँ च पावा किवें कजलावे, अखियाँ च तू वसदा। हर वेले चन्ना मेरा तेरे वल मूवे, हर वेले चन्ना मेरा तेरे वल मूवे। दुनिया च ना तेरा अखियाँ च तू वे, अखियाँ च तू वे। जदों हसदी भुलेखा मैनू पैंदा वे, हासियां च तू हसदा। जदों हसदी भुलेखा मैनू पैंदा वे, हासियां च तू हसदा। इन्हां अखियां च पावा किवें कजलावे, अखियां च तू वसदा। मसा मसा जिंदड़ी मैं प्यार विच रंगी वे, मसा मसा जिंदड़ी मैं प्यार विच रंगी वे। अज मैनू जापदा मैं तेरे नाल मंगी वे, तेरे नाल मंगी वे। अज खुशियां दा हो गया सवेरा वे, गम सातों दूर नसदा। अज खुशियां दा हो गया सवेरा वे, गम सातों दूर नसदा। इन्हां अखियां च पावा किवें कजलावे, अखियां च तू वसदा। लंबियां सी रातां चन्ना नेड़े नेड़े आया तू, लंबियां सी रातां चन्ना नेड़े नेड़े आया तू। अखियां दराइयां के दिल च समाया तू, दिल च समाया तू। जदों पुछदियां प्यार वाली गल्लां वे, हौली हौली तू दसदा। जदों पुछदियां प्यार वाली गल्लां वे, हौली हौली तू दसदा। इन्हां अखियां च पावा किवें कजलावे, अखियां च तू वसदा। शुक्राना गुरुजी, शुक्राना संगत जी। गुड नाइट संगत जी, स्वीट ड्रीम्स, stay blessed, stay always connected to Guruji. Jai Guruji.